Hi everyone, this is Mr. McNamee here. So this is going to be your top 5 revision tips for music and a little bit extra at the end. So tip number 1, and this is to do largely with dictation, but it could help in your set works too. Practice your intervals. Intervals are always going to be your best friend. So if you remember back, we had these association songs that we used to help us remember. So for example, we said major sixth was My Bonnie Lies Over the Ocean. So whenever you hear that, it should be a major sixth. So practice listening to just those little parts of those songs to help you remind yourself. Even just sitting 5 minutes a day, practicing each song, practicing the interval, okay? And how to do that is maybe I'll put a link to a site that you can do this, but there's the site online where you could practice your intervals. Okay. And what you do is if you don't know the interval, then go through each song and whichever one fits, you know it is. So that could be a way to practice by yourself your intervals. So use your association songs to help you. Um, if there's any songs on the list that we made that is not helpful to you, then simply you can find another one. If this link here, it says earmaster.com, it's got an interval song chart, and essentially what that means is it's got a column for all the ascending intervals and all the descending intervals. So, for example, if I wanted to find the interval for a perfect fourth going up, all I do is find where it says perfect fourth and find my song. Okay. So use the association songs to help you. If there's a song that's not helping because you don't know the song well, find one yourself, and then just practice listening to these. So as eventually you'll know it's a perfect fourth, you'll know it's a perfect fifth, just like that, and that'll help with your dictation. I'll give you another tip for dictation. Make sure that you're focused as well on the rhythms that you already have been given, because the rhythm you've been given already is usually a good indicator of what is to come as well. And one more tip for your dictation practice as well is just like that example we had on your last lesson. Be aware of the tonic, and remember the tonic is just the first note. So if I've got a dictation in D major, the tonic's going to be that D. Always be aware of that D as a reference tone to go back to. So this one is one I don't think you guys will have much bother with, but it's definitely worth keeping in mind. Make sure you're answering the correct elements that the question's asking you to do. So essentially, if you've got a question that's asking you about, let's say, melody, you don't want to be talking about structure in there, do you? You want to be talking about melody. You don't want to be talking about other things like tonality too much. Okay. Now, what you can do, of course, you can use other elements to highlight what you're saying, but that should still be in reference to the element you're talking about. So, for example, let's say we're talking about melody, and you just made a point about, let's say in Star Wars, how it does a leap of a minor seventh, and you want to talk about how the rhythm helps the melody to stand out. That would be okay because the rhythm is still in reference to the melody. Okay. So I'm going to upload these on Teams just in case they help. But when we're reading through them, these are all our main elements of music that we have. Okay. Just take notice of the context of the extract you listen to. Okay, many times you'll be asked to talk about musical elements in relation to the mood created. So a feature you may be correct about the piece as a whole, but not relevant to the extract. So that's just what we're just saying there. Okay. An example there we've got on this is how does the rhythm create a lively feel? And the example there would be constant semi-quiver movement. So just keep your answers relevant to the elements of music. Uh, let's talk about more in specific. So melody. Now, melody, little tip for you, prioritize pitch first, okay? As it says here, when we talk about melody, stay don't talk too much about word setting and things like that. Okay. Now, syllabic and melismatic are definitely elements of melody, and you can mention them, but prioritize more pitch stuff. So if this here conjunct or disjunct, there's a big one. Ornamentation, so that's things like trills, mordants, leaps. Is it going up? Is it going down? Counter melodies, sustained notes, short notes, ostinatos, ascendant, everything on here. They're the stuff that will get you the bigger marks for melody. Okay, so keep that in mind. Harmony. So the reason I'm mentioning this is always bear in mind that harmony and tonality aren't the same thing necessarily. Okay, they are different, but usually they will appear in the same question because they're so interrelated. But harmony, remember, is to do with the individual pitches that make up the chords. Okay, so harmony is about the actual chords used, how pitch is organized vertically. Okay. So everything, all these notes we've got here, okay, you all know what they are. Major and minor chords, harmonic sequence, cadences, diatonic, non-diatonic, so is it in the keys or not in the key. So in the individual notes that tell you the information about the chords, okay? Before we go into that, so let's sum up there. So step number 2, make sure you answer what the elements are telling you. When we're talking about melody, prioritize your answers about the pitch and don't talk too much about word setting. Harmony and tonality are not the same thing, but they're very closely related. Usually they'll be together in a question. Okay, so know the difference between them. So tip number 3, the set work summaries. They are on Teams. So if you're ever feeling a little bit overwhelmed by what you need to know for a set work, you can always go back to these set work summaries because they contain all the main points of each set work that you need to know. Okay, and it's just a good grounding point if you ever feel like, right, I need to stop. That's always there. Okay, so let's go to Teams. I'll show you where that is. So if you go in the Teams folder, I've already got it open here with your 11 folder. What we'll do is set work summaries here. So these are the 3 sort of revision booklets I've got at the top here. And the rest are all at the bottom down here. There's lots more in there, as I'll talk about in a minute. The set work summaries are here. So let's go on this. Let's talk about, let's define gravity. Let's pick that at random. So here we are, right? Everything's here. Structure just in bullet point form for now, okay? Use these points and find them in the score. We've got other resources here to help with that. So structure, for example, verse, chorus, forum, and then it has a little bit more information on there too. Also, if we go back on class materials, we also have set work vocabulary. Okay, so let's go back and define gravity. So we go on this, right? That has key words that are associated with it. Okay, so these words might help to jog your memory of certain things for each element. So that's worth looking at that too. There is also, I won't open it up here, but we've also got that vocabulary I just showed you. We've also got here, which would show you the definitions to that. And then here we've also got the fill-in there where you have to fill that in yourself if you want to test yourself, okay? Now, more score-related stuff on Teams is essentially those score videos that we looked at recently. So let's go on. This is going to be the answer one. When revising, I would say with this resource, it's okay to start with the answers one. Okay, so it goes through the whole. It goes through the whole score, and along the way, it has got questions. Okay, so this one has got the answers for you, and then the other one, which says questions, just prompts you the questions and you have to fill in the answers yourselves, okay? But this is a really good revision tool. It's got everything in here you need. So scroll these down, let you see. So these are fantastic. They're I've got these for each set work. As you can see at the top there, it has each section as well. So practice, first have a look at the answer version of this, just as a way if you need to keep revising, and then go back and test yourself. So if I go back, we'll go on Pathetics and student one, the one that says student worksheet. So here we go. And if you click over here, it's got the link to the video as well, okay? So you can follow along as well. Here we go. So it's prompting you to fill these in yourself. Okay? So that's a good resource worth doing. So tip number 3, use your set work summaries to go back to basis if you're feeling a bit overwhelmed. Use those score videos and score questions to test yourself as well. And you've also got the vocabulary fill-ins there too. And what I forgot to mention there was if we go back to class materials, there's also a SetWorks revision booklet that is there if you need it. So for example, you guys have just looked at gravity. So it's got everything in here for gravity. And all this stuff comes from, if there's anything you don't know, if you look back at the PowerPoint that's there, if all the information is there, if you need to find it, okay? But structure, for example, is very good. It's got everything there to prompt yourself, so as you know everything that's going on in structure. It's going through each one. So the text setting is, okay, so go through these, work them out, try and find the answer to them. That's there to help you organize your thoughts as well. These booklets also contain wider listening. If I go further down, there we go. So that's written in here as a homework task, but it has extra pieces in here where you can go and have a listen to, and it's got suggestions for what you should be looking for. Perfect. So tip number 4, know the structure. Okay. So knowing the structure of each set work will help. It's going to help organize in your head what's happening, what, and where. Okay. So if you just have a jumble of ideas, it means nothing. We need to put it in context to the structure that's happening. If you know, for example, in Star Wars, it's a main part of the structure is that it has a main theme. It has theme A and it has theme B. Okay, that now allows you to go right. So, what is the harmonic elements that makes up theme A? What is the melodic aspects that make up theme A? Okay, what was theme B again? Oh yeah, theme B was that little different one, wasn't it? What happens to make that different? So you see what I mean? Using the structure, knowing how it sounds in your head, helps organize your thoughts as to what's relevant and what the main talking points are. And one thing that's going to help with that is over the next few weeks, I would suggest you listen to the set works as much as you can. If you find yourself, just put it on your iPod. With headphones in, if you're washing the dishes or something, or if you're doing the hoovering or something like that, or if you're walking to some place, good chance to just make yourself a little playlist on if you've got Spotify or something like that, and yeah, keep listening to those set works. The more you listen to it, the more you'll know about them. Okay, so that's step 4: know the structure and keep listening to the set works. Last tip: so practice your key signatures. That's going to help, okay? So because it's more than likely you'll get a question that will ask you to state what key signature this is. So practice both the flats and sharps. Both ways are fine. I know you guys before before I taught you were taught going around the circle of fifths. That's absolutely fine. If you're more comfortable doing that, do that. Also, you can use Father Charles goes down and end battle. So the ones in red shows you all the sharps. The ones in red shows you all the flats. Okay. So these are your two ways to remember them. If you need a reminder of how this works, just give me a message and we'll talk about it. Some extra tips, okay? If you've come this far. So keep practicing your wider listening. That's going to help for when you get, there will be a question on unrelated listening. That's what you'd get in the exam, okay? So all that is just using your musicality to notice what's going on. So the more you practice those set works, the wider listening, the more that'll be easier for you to do. So have a look at the end of the PowerPoints. At the end of PowerPoints, it's got suggested wider listening. And at the end of the booklets, it's also got, as I showed you, it's got those wider listening too. So just have a listen to these. Try and see through just listening if you could tell a little bit of structure. What is happening in the harmony? What's happening with the rhythm? Things like that. Okay. Just keep listening and keep. Even when you're just listening to music on your own, keep questioning yourself as to what's going on. Number 2 here, practice as much of the practice. I'll say that again. Practice as much of the practice paper questions as you can, which are uploaded here on Teams. Okay, I've put quite a lot of them there. So whenever you want, and if you ever want them marked, just send me a message and I'll get that to you. Okay. Use your GCSE study guide, that book that you all have, to help you. That summarizes the points really nicely. Just like I was saying, the set work summaries help. That does the same thing. It has a really nice summaries of it. Okay, and lots of questions in there too that'll help you. Last thing I'm going to say, don't forget to revise the background and contextual information on each set work, because you will get questions on these too. Not very many, but they will sometimes throw the odd question in there. So information on these can be found in your PowerPoints, which are all online, set work summaries, and as well as your study guide as well. Okay, so that's my tips for your exam, guys. Okay, any questions on that, feel free to send me a message. Okay, but please don't worry about the exam. You guys are all very good musicians, and you're all in a very good position to be able to nail this exam. Okay, so let's just revise what we can. Okay, and you're gonna be ready for the exam. You've got plenty of time from now until then. Okay, guys. Take care. Bye.